Hi everybody, it's me Tami DeVine here for CCN Sunrise today. We have more candidates on the campaign trail that we're bringing to you, and today we have Secretary of State candidate Mark Meuser with us. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, good. So, Secretary of State, why did you feel it was important to run for this office?
Well, let's start off with what is the Secretary of State.
Sure.
The Secretary of State is the chief election officer of the state. I happen to be an election law attorney, and I was one of the first attorneys who was in Wisconsin and Michigan for the presidential recount. I was approached by a bunch of other election law attorneys who says, Mark, we have a lot of problems with our elections here in the state of California. We have 11 counties with over 100% voter registration. Oh. That means there's more people on the voter rolls than are eligible to vote.
This is like third world country stuff, where there's more people who are voting, right, than like you said, who are actually registered to vote. Yeah. How can that be?
Well, let's start with a statistic. Here in LA County, 144% voter registration.
Crazy.
There are three main categories of people who get on voter rolls who are not eligible to vote. Number one, people who have died who they have not removed from the voter rolls.
Our zombie voters.
I mean, 2 years ago, CBS News here in LA ran a story where they had found about 300 people who had been dead over 20 years who had voted at least 10 times. That is a problem.
Yeah, it is a problem. That's a big problem. And who else?
Another category is people who have moved. Now, in 2015 and 2016, there was a Freedom of Information Act asked of LA County, how many people have you removed from the voter rolls because they've moved in 2015 and 2016? They had not removed a single person pursuant to a federal law procedure that they have to do if somebody moves. They hadn't removed a single person from the voting rolls in 2015 and 2016.
And I believe it was brought up to their attention as well, right? Wasn't that brought to their attention?
Yes.
That this, like the existing Secretary of State at that time? And they don't care. They don't do anything.
That's what's going on right now. So that's the second category, people who have moved. I mean, I just yesterday had somebody reach out to me. My son moved 18 years ago.
Wow.
And I'm still getting his balloting material.
Wow. I
mean, it's you got to, only those people who are eligible to vote should be voting.
Right. Okay, so we got our,
Third category is non-citizens. California Constitution says in order to vote, you must be a citizen of the United States and a resident of the state of California. And
common sense stuff here.
Yeah. And here's a statistic. Jury summons service notices. Everybody tends to get them every couple of years. There's a box there that you could check that says, I'm not a citizen, I'm not eligible to sit on a jury. Over 5% of those in the state of California get returned by someone who says they're not a citizen. Now, there's a couple different ways that you could get on the jury summons service. But the most likely way that it is through is through voter registration. So there is a huge data of people who are not citizens who are somehow getting jury summons, but that means there's a large portion of them who are registered to vote too.
What can people do, Mark? I mean, we know this is going on. It's obvious voter fraud. A lot of it is intentional, right?
Whether it's intentional or just bad government data cleaning, we live in the day of big data. Mm-hmm. The government, Facebook, Twitter, there's so much data out there. There is no reason that our voter rolls are this messed up. You know, your DMV in Phoenix, Arizona is going to communicate with the DMV in Los Angeles County. But the voter registrar in Phoenix, Arizona is not going to communicate with Los Angeles County.
Yeah.
We live in a day of big data, and there's no reason why these things can't be cleaned up. And the current Secretary of State just is not doing anything about it.
So some people have, concerns about Big Brother, right? Do we necessarily want, the one state talking to another about us, if something happens? It does happen with DMV already, and it could happen with the other.
With the post office
yeah.
So
but some people worry about that, like the whole Big Brother thing, right?
Why? Let's stop and think about it. You moved from Los Angeles
to Phoenix. It's just a small government thing, though, Mark. Isn't it?
Well, if you're moving from Phoenix or from here, Los Angeles to Phoenix, you're going to tell the USPS, I'm moving.
Right.
You've already told the government.
You tell them, yes.
You've gone to DMV in Phoenix, and they tell California, cancel the driver's license. Why are we not communicating on voter registration?
Okay. That makes sense.
The thing is intergovernment communication. We already got the DMV. We already got the USPS. All we have to do is communicate among ourselves as a government. It's not like the data is just going willy-nilly. The data, people have already given the government the information. It's just a matter of the government properly communicating with each other.
Right. That makes sense. You know. So I guess my question to you is, how do we make it so that California can actually ever even elect a Republican? I mean, it just seems like so impossible, such an insurmountable task at this point. You know, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, people look at California and say, that's blue California. It's just going to be Democrats up there in the legislature.
Well, I'm going to say that 2018 is a different year. Let's start off with the race I'm running for Secretary of State. It's one of the more nonpartisan races in the nation. Secretary of State, Chief Election Officer. People see that race as the counting of votes. It should not be partisan what your party is in the counting of votes. We saw that in Oregon in 2016, they elected Hillary Clinton as president, but a Republican Secretary of State. Washington did the exact same thing in 2016. Pete Peterson, who was the Republican candidate for Secretary of State 4 years ago, almost won this race, even though he was outspent 7-1.
Wow.
Why is that? Because dead people not voting is not a Republican or Democrat issue. It is an American issue. The concept of people being able to cast multiple votes, that is not a Republican or Democrat issue. That is an American issue. We live in America, one person, one vote. So first, I'm running in a race that is perceived to be much more nonpartisan and much more good government. Are you actually going to do what you're hired to do? Are you going to sit on my opponent is basically sitting on Twitter all day bashing the president, or are you going to actually clean up the voter rolls? What the people have hired you to do is make sure we have fair and honest elections. So
am I hearing you say that Alex Padilla is not doing his job? Is this what I'm hearing?
You heard it right out of my mouth.
Okay.
Now, number two, 42% of California Democrats right now do not like the direction the state is going. In between sanctuary state, in between the gas tax, in between
a homeless issue.
They have done so much damage to the state. We have the worst roads, but we pay the most in gas taxes. In between everything that we're dealing with right now, we got 42% of California Democrats who do not like the direction the state is going. That is an opportunity.
That's a big number.
That is a huge number.
Yeah. And where did that number come from?
That's an LA Times poll. LA Times USC poll.
Okay.
The second number I want to give you is we have the repeal of the gas taxes that's going to be on the ballot this November. That gained more signatures than any other petition has ever gotten. Almost 1 million people in the state of California signed that. That is 1 out of every 40 people in the state of California.
That's big.
And there's only 20 million voters, so that's 1 in every 20.
Well, it hurts. I mean, $3.50 or more for a gallon of gas is unheard of, and it's sorry, painful at the pump.
$4.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I have Costco, so sometimes it can be a little less, but
still. My tank was empty, and I had to go for the next.
And I'm sorry, but that hurts me personally.
This gas tax that the voters are going to have the chance to repeal in November, it was approximately $800 per family of 4 per year. I mean, if you're making $40,000 a year, $800 is going to go a long way. A long way for food, for babysitting, for whatever, Whatever it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I have a question here about, I think you had said that California has the second worst elections in the U.S. Is that right? Where did that come from?
That comes from the Pew Research Center.
Okay.
They measure elections across the nation. They have 14 different categories that they measure, how we handle provisional ballots, how we handle military ballots, how we, just along the whole line. And according to them, California has the second worst elections in the
country. The first being?
The worst being Alabama.
Alabama has the worst.
Alabama has the worst.
Okay, all right.
Now, here's another statistic that's going to surprise everybody. You talked about California and our third world. Of the 28 Western democracies, according to a Harvard study, United States, when it comes to election integrity, is ranked 28th.
Ooh.
And when they pull out just Western democracy and just go everybody, we're like 44th. That means there's a lot of non-Western democracies that have better elections in the United States of America.
We really need to work on that.
We really need to work on it. It starts with the Secretary of State. The Secretary of State is the chief election officer, and they're the ones who are supposed to be driving the concept. We spend all this time talking about hacking, and it's, that is an important issue, that we don't want to be hacked our elections. But we also need to make sure we have integrity in our elections. We need to make sure that only those people who are able to vote are voting. We don't need, like the person who told me just on Friday last week, where he counted 6 different buses of 55 people per bus coming into one polling place and voting throughout the day. And they didn't go in and just say, my name is John Smith. It wasn't like somebody was bussing them in for that. It was they'd go to the wall and see who had not voted. And they go, okay, that person hasn't voted, and because California doesn't have voter ID, they basically were able to vote for them.
Horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty sad some of the stuff we got. And
I'm going to wrap up with this. Republicans talk about Democrats cheating a lot during elections. You hear Democrats also pointing the finger at Republicans. I don't know if it's as much to do that. Which party do you see doing the most cheating here?
The thing is, it depends on what state you're in. Texas is Republican controlled, and if you followed me on Twitter, I do a lot of talk about election integrity. And yes, Texas just had some primaries. And there were multiple occasions of some Democrats who cheated in the Democrat primary, and multiple occasions of Republicans who were caught cheating in the Republican primary. People in power will always abuse power to try to, have control of the government purse strings. But
not you. Well, if you get elected, not you, right?
I'm being elected by the people to clean up a mess, and I'm accountable to the people. I'm not accountable to special interests.
Okay, good. We're going to end it there. Okay. Thank you so much, Mark, for talking to me. I appreciate it. Mark Meuser, Secretary of State. Give us your website real fast.
MarkMeuser.com. MarkMeuser.com.
Okay, the MEU is what might trip people up. So MEUSER.com. And Mark with a K.
Mark with a K.
MarkMeuser.com.
You got it.
Good. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's it for now, you guys. We'll see you next time.